as if I needed another project, there's this thing. 1950s apparently. She's gonna need some new tyres to start, probably new lights, side markers, etc. Here's the interior. It's all pretty rough. It's all gonna have to come out. Like there's splitting in the plywood and stuff, a bit of water got in the top. It's all since been made watertight by the last owner. This is a permanent section now, so we'll probably just board that off. Yeah, lots of rot, lots of storage, but all of this will be coming out, electricals and all. There's a funny little electric oven. Yeah, it's pretty basic. All the windows are intact. Some of them are missing a little bit of hardware here and there, just wing nuts and things, but none of the glass is cracked. The frame seems to be in pretty good order. If you look in there and see the back of the paneling. But yeah, it's had some water in it. It's been sitting for a while. The floor's in generally quite good condition. It's just plywood. Yeah, like cupboards and stuff will need to be redone. I might keep most of the frame in here, but new bench top, sand all that back, paint it, get new boards for the front of the drawers and cupboards, etc. My main concern is the brake system is missing its plunger piston bit, and yeah, the tyres and wheels and probably bearings are all shot and ancient, and the brake drums will probably need to be redone too. But otherwise it's actually pretty tidy. Obviously needs some new paint, but like it's aluminium, it's yeah, pretty straight aside from a ding here and another one towards the back and a bit of rubbish on the corners. That one. Enough room to stand up in, enough room for a bed, wee telly, couch. What do you reckon?
It's a camper.
Here's a couple of the close-up shots that I took on the day when we went to view it. Basically went home, had a wee think about it, priced up some options, slept on it, got back to the guy and ultimately said, yep, we'll take it, with the plan to basically replace everything that moves, including the axle, the wheels, the bearings, everything. Anything that's attached and can be replaced with modern hardware is going to be replaced. So yeah, just a couple of shots of the interior, pricing up the plywood that I would need to put in, figuring out where to get it from, that sort of stuff. So I was so elated and excited that I'd said yes. So we sent him a bank transfer and went to pick it up the next day, and the next clip is that. Alright, we got it hooked up, got our signage on. The door has been wired shut, window's still reasonably closed. We've got our hazards ready to go. We managed to find the 2 wires that are required for the brakes and the hazards, and it wasn't quite long enough to meet the connection here, so luckily there was some random wire just hanging off the back of it. Don't know what it's for, I'll find out eventually, but yeah, we're ready to, I think we're about ready to hit the road now. It's going to be a slow journey, so hopefully we don't attract too much attention. Didn't have the presence of mind to do too much recording while we're on the road. There was a lot of stopping, it was pretty slow. We were trying to sort of keep our heads down, keep to the back roads. Yeah, a lot of pausing, letting traffic pass, kept the hazards on the whole time, and yeah, basically just tried to keep an eye on things, kept an eye on the lights, felt the wheels and bearings, just making sure that they weren't heading up or going nuts. But I was able to get this footage of us when we finally got it home and got it off the car. It's bloody heavy at the front. It's super heavy at the front. There's a lot of tongue weight there, so new jockey wheel's definitely in order. The one that is attached at the moment is quite rusty, and the wheel just sort of comes off. There's no locking nut or anything there, so we struggled with that a wee bit, and it's only a small driveway, so there was a bit of manoeuvring and back and forth and trying to plan and not let it get away on us back down the driveway. So yeah, you can see here we're just sort of humming and hawing and trying to figure out what exactly we're going to do with it. So luckily I had a friend of mine helping out that day, and we ended up getting the jockey wheel back on and shifted it all into place, and that's where it's going to stay for, well, probably the next couple months and until she's ready for a waff again. So yeah, it was a good journey. There wasn't really too much to see. It was just slow, and we were a bit nervous the whole time, so we didn't really want to be too distracted, if you know what I mean. So yeah, no, got it home. Happy days, and now we get to start work on it. So a big priority for me in terms of getting this project started is getting it roadworthy. So the first thing I wanted to do was get underneath and attack some of the surface rust on the steel. In general, the frame's in pretty tidy condition. There's a few welds that might need a bit of attention, but overall it basically just needs a decent heavy wire brush, bit of rust converter and paint. So yeah, day one was basically getting underneath there with an angle grinder, a stiff wire brush, and getting dust in my eyes literally all day. It was pretty foul, but a necessary step to begin.
Man, this is a lot of PPE. It's in a reasonably tight space, but it's worth it. Unfortunately, a lot of this really hard to I can't even talk. It's really hard to access with the grinder without also hitting the floor and hitting the wood. But lucky for me, this does a pretty quick job. Very lucky for me. So I just need to get under here, kick off anything that's loose or scaly or, you know, blatant rust, hit it with the converter, and then come back under here tomorrow or at least 24 hours later and hit it with paint, and then we're away to start attaching new hardware, new axle, new tyres, and a new camper.
The end result was pretty good. The rust converter neutralised the rust pretty easily. Most of it came away. There were no real surprises after scraping back what was left of the paint, so I was pretty satisfied with that. And yeah, it was pretty dusty, pretty horrible work, but thank God I had a mask on, because otherwise my lungs would have been full of it. Well, that was long, dusty, and quite tedious work. And now we get to throw on some paint. And so far she's coming up just perfect. Thanks to my lovely assistant.
Oh, there you are.
My beautiful assistant over there. It's a bit easier for her to get underneath. I'm slightly wider. But no, we're looking good. Like I bought one. Another couple coats and we'll be away. It was quite difficult to record any of the grinding and sanding. It was dusty work. I was filthy and grumpy, and yeah, not the best viewing experience. It's bloody noisy too. Didn't really want to have my phone under there for too long. But yeah, It's coming up just fine. Well, we'll keep going. So, it's about a week later, we got it home. Moment of truth. It's raining. It's been raining pretty much all night. It hasn't really been pissing down, but it has been wet. And I've done a couple of things off camera. I've taken a lot of the hardware off the A-frame there and thrown some paint on anything that's going to be exposed to the elements, as it's out of its barn now. But this will be the first look in the daylight to see if any of this is leaking. Let's see if it's really watertight, eh? Okay, promising so far. There's no seal around this door anymore, apart from that little bit of rubber there. So that's promising. Oh geez, yeah. We'll be able to see the we'll be able to see any drippage pretty easy on this dry floor. Okay. We're looking pretty good around the window here. This one, I had to refit the seal. It was sort of dangling off the bottom of it. A bit of CRC and a butter knife, I think. I was able to maneuver that in and get it all clipped back in place. Okay. The bench is dry. We've got a little bit of lifting here. I wonder if that's old, because that was already stained. Yeah, I think that's old. Cool. None of that drippage is new. This side will be pretty dry up against the macro carpet there. Got some new cobwebs. A nice little stream of water coming off it. Nothing smells damp, if you know what I mean. Like, this is all still ruined, but there's nothing looks wet. Okay. I don't see any. Everything sort of feels cold, but it's yeah, it's not wet. I just thought I got dripped on there, but no. Might have been a spider. Okay. Yeah, that window's looking pretty good. Okay, what about this one? Down at the sills. God, it's filthy. It's so filthy. Oh, man. Oh, what about in here? Is that... What's that? No. The paint's coming up. Oh, Jesus. Yeah. It feels dry. Okay. This window, which has obviously had troubles before. Yeah, I mean, that's CRC that I've sprayed on there to try and free it up. Yeah, they've resealed all the way around it like this, but I'm not convinced that was the problem in the first place. They've done it on the outside as well. No. If it's going to be wet anywhere, it's going to be right under this window, right? No. Okay. I don't see, yeah, there's no drips on the floor. Obviously, there's no like wet patches or anything here. The corners look alright, yeah. I think it's watertight, eh? The true test will be going 90 k's an hour in the rain, and having it all, you know, wash up against the front of the window here and up against the, you know, past these seals and stuff like this. Still, it's missing a mount here, so it's not quite completely flush. And that'll be the real test, is how watertight is it while it's moving. But hopefully if we're only using it in summer, that shouldn't be too much of a concern. So yeah, there's not much I've done off camera. I've taken the weird piece of wood here off, fixed this rubber seal. It was sitting quite high up. It was like pushed right up there, and you could actually see the top of the glass. So I've just managed to massage that back down. Yeah, taking the drawers out, had a look at all the cupboards and stuff like this. It's going to need new cupboards, obviously, and new faces on the drawers. But yeah, it's mostly just been taking measurements, figuring out what we're going to do with the thing, and feeling slightly overwhelmed, but I'm sure we'll get through. Excellent. Well, I was expecting to find a puddle in here. I'm happy that I haven't, but I'm at least that would give me a problem to fix, you know? There's that rain. Here's all the bits that I've taken off so far. So we've got the loose wheel from the old jockey, which I guess it did have some sort of retention screw at some stage. Oh jeez. We've got the old coupling, old braked coupling, which has definitely seen better days. At least, you know, we got it home. It didn't fail on us, but I wouldn't trust it for any trip anywhere else ever again. So, yeah, it's pretty busted. What else we got? Oh, the old like handbrake arms. I'm guessing, I don't really know, but they had some sort of handle, and they were mounted to the front of the A-frame and sort of went like that. They were a bit worse for wear. Oh, the old brake cylinder holder for the old brake cylinder, which I'm not sure if you've ever seen anything quite so deteriorated. It's just missing the whole piston assembly. Surprisingly enough, it did still have some brake fluid in it. No. Alright. What else we got? The old jockey wheel. This was quite a pain to get off, so there was a few things that it failed on when you're trying to undo this, and you couldn't lift it up because of where the set screw sits. Yeah, so that was a bit of a hammer and grind job. What else we got? Oh, that was part of the mount for it, so you had to cut the old bolts off. And speaking of old bolts, well, there was that thing too. Yeah, they didn't really loosen, they just twisted in place. Really thin, really brittle. That's one that didn't break. Yeah, it's a bit hard to tell now, they're all a bit corroded, but pretty much everything I stuck a wrench or socket on just snapped pretty much straight away with very little torque. So I think we were quite lucky to get it home, and quite lucky that we didn't have that far to go. But yeah, so hopefully the price of steel comes up and all of this is worth a fortune. You know, wishful thinking. During my exploration of the interior, I found the old WAF sticker. Turns out it expired in July 1989. Man. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for the next episode where we prepare for a new one of fitness. The first time in over 30 years. Alright, I'll see you then. It's mint.